hey, this is Colt Cabana, and I was online downloading some porn when a pop-up came for InYourHeadOnline.com. I clicked on it, and what a good time. What great memories I had. I fully support it. Thank you very much.
All right, and we're back. And we are joined by classic Colt Cabana. Welcome to your classic one.
Oh, thank you very much. I mean, I'm happy to be here, and by the sound of it, I don't know if we're on an old WWF pay-per-view or just a really cheesy pornography movie. It's kind of a mix between both, isn't it?
Oh,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
In your house or in your head or
in your head.
Okay, sounds good.
We've all got big 70s moustaches and shit. That's awesome.
Yeah, I got a hairy chest.
Yeah.
I can't understand the limey.
I know, he's hard to understand. We should speak American. Were you a big fan of the in your house concept?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, in your house. Oh, sorry. Go on.
I was just saying, do you remember the first show when they gave away a house?
I do remember.
Yeah.
In your house was the start of like when like the pay-per-views weren't as sweet anymore, right?
Right.
Like because then they were doing them every month, and then they took away. I mean, it was nice. I was so cheap. I still wouldn't even pay for the $14.95 for the in your house. So, but it was nice that was cheaper. But once they started doing the in your houses, then pay-per-views just weren't cool anymore. You didn't have those big parties where your buddies were coming over and wrestling anymore, because you didn't know which one was cool. So.
Yeah, it was not special anymore.
Right.
So
I would not.
Right.
Yeah. I think the big question, really, for Colt Cabana is, in this day and age, where does a guy pick up a decent pair of aviators?
Well, it's, personally, I like the really, I pick up some good ones on, like, the side stands in Ohio, just on, like, the side of the street, Mm-hmm. Like, the cheesier, the scummier the place is, the more likely they'll have aviators. It's a fact.
I know.
You know what? Let me correct that. At least affordable ones, because then there's always, those douchebag places like Abercrombie and Fitch or whatever that will charge you $70 for a pair of aviators, and you don't want to buy those. It kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah. Well, you can go down to like Main Street down here, and you can probably get them for a couple bucks. And it might not really be legit, but.
Well, where are you guys?
What?
Where's Main Street?
Oh, Main Street here in Hyannis. I'm on Cape Cod, Massachusetts.
Oh man, see, I'm on Clybourne right now, and I'm looking for Main Street in Chicago, and you got to be more specific.
Oh, sorry about that. I noticed today that you sold your pair of tights you were selling on ColtCabana.com.
Yeah, you know what? There's always stuff going on ColtCabana.com. That's for my fans and the people that want to know more about me, and you can always find a pair of tights, I might throw up there, or match-worn headbands or stuff that, maybe I went over in Japan and I used, or over in England and I used, and, I'm just passing on memorabilia to my fans, and that's just the kind of guy I am. It's ColtCabana.com. You can always find that kind of crap on there.
Did you wash them before you sold them?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay.
A funny thing is that I did, when I had my cage match with Austin Aries, I did auction off my singlet from that match, which was, I don't know if you guys remember, it was the original Second City Saints singlet that had, like, kind of the Chicago and an Angel Wings kind of thing going on, and it had the blood all over it, and I figured that was kind of the, the cool thing about it. So that wasn't washed, it was just Febreze to death.
Mm-hmm.
So you might have wanted that one, but it's off the market.
Oh, man. I'll have to hunt that one down.
Sure.
You
might find it in a garage sale for $2 a couple of years from now.
Nah.
The flipper, he emailed us a question here. He wants to know what would win in a fight, pancake or French toast?
Well, that's a great question. It really is, and you really got to, it comes down more to a science. Is the pancake, do these pancakes and French toast have feet? Because the French toast, if it had feet, would be, I think, much more stable because it's four sides, it's a square. Whereas the pancake, it's kind of wobbling around because it's a circle. And if they don't have feet, the pancake is, more accessible because it can roll around and defeat his opponent in any way, whereas French toast would kind of have to, fold over and then flip up and then fold over again. So it really depends on what kind of articles that, that they have with them. So I really can't answer that question. I'd love to answer that question, but I can't do it this time.
Also, you could build up momentum if it was downhill. The pancake could be rolling.
See, there's a lot of just obstacles and objectives that we don't know about, So if maybe next time the flipper could be a little more specific,
Mm-hmm.
If he wants to talk about whether they're, in an octagon fighting or, a steel cage or something and, in a bath of Jello or whatever, just, you tell me the specifics and I'll be able to tell you who the winner would be. Not a problem.
How about if the pancake has a robotic arm?
Well, how good is the robotics? Who is the technician that worked on the robotic arm? How old is the robotic arm? There's just so many factors. Again, you're really being a little too dry right now.
Oh, okay. It's a robotic arm designed by Punchy McGee.
Well, Punchy McGee was a great wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
I know about his wrestling. I just don't know about his, engineering.
Someone else sent us a question. They want to know, how hard is Nigel McGuinness's head?
Wow. You know what? I was just watching the DVD of Universal Uproar, and I was actually watching. Nigel and I were stuck in New York City this weekend together with a bunch of the other wrestlers, and we popped it in and we were watching it together. And he literally rewound and played the point where he headbutted me probably 30 times, laughing as hard as he could, because you could literally hear, and you don't really usually hear the sound of a headbutt, but it was so loud and funkish that it was I think that's where JYD got the size of his pants from. It was just thump right on my head. So Nigel McGuinness's head, and he's just laughing because I'm sitting down, on the mat trying to see, if my eyes are crossed or not, and he's just having a jolly good time. So I would go. In the order of hard heads, it would go Samoans, black people, Nigel McGuinness, and everybody else.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one. For long-time fans, they know what they're talking about.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
All right. You were definitely a fan before you got into wrestling, right?
A fan of what? Baseball?
Of wrestling.
Oh, yeah, I love wrestling.
In your head.
What's that?
Of in your head.
Yeah, I love getting head.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah. Well, that's what the British guy's here for.
That's a new spin on our name.
Whoa.
That's my mission. How do you think we got Goldberg?
Yeah, I love wrestling growing up.
Well, what were some of your heroes?
My heroes. Okay, so everybody loved Hulk Hogan. Obviously, I loved Hulk Hogan, but I loved everybody that wrestled, and I think it says something about me that a lot of people get into wrestling and they get into wrestling because they love Goldberg or Stone Cold or whatever. But to me, it was just like, if you were in the wrestling ring, you were so much cooler than me because I wasn't in a wrestling ring, and therefore you were awesome and you were my hero. And, obviously like Hulk Hogan, and I loved the Killer Bees and Paul Orndorff and Don Morocco and Dusty Rhodes, but I also loved, Barry Horowitz and Barry O and Steve Lombardi and S.D. Jones, and it didn't even matter who you were just so cool because you wrestled and I didn't.
Yeah.
And WWF was that was obviously the one that I really watched as a youngster. I did watch a lot of WCW, but I wasn't as, hardcore as I loved WWF. But I watched WCW and NWA and World Class on ESPN and Global, and I got some Smoky Mountain. I got some Windy City Wrestling when I was a kid too, and USWA. So and AWF and AWA. Anything that was on TV that I could watch, I definitely watched because I love wrestling so much. But obviously WWF was really, obviously the bigger influence for me.
Yeah. Anybody we can try to patent your wrestling style off of?
I don't know. There's a lot of guys who watch me, and especially now, maybe you'll see a lot of the British influence, like Vic Faulkner and Les Cowlett and Steve Gray and Johnny Saint and those guys. And then, in the character-wise, you'll see a lot of Dusty Rhodes and Jimmy Boogie Woogie Man Valiant, and the colorful characters and Junkyard, throw Junkyard Dogs in there somewhere, and obviously, you know, technically, obviously, I can't be like that, but, you know, I try to pattern myself, you know, like the Dean Malenkos and the Eddie Guerreros and you know, Chris Benoit's of that reason, that, you know, obviously, I'm nowhere near Chris Benoit, but when I'm technically trying to wrestle, you know, you know, those guys are the best, and those guys you try to pattern yourself after. So it's really just a mix of everybody that ruled, and whether they were a good wrestler or not. If they ruled, and I watched him, I go, man, he's got rules. Whether it's, you know, the way he, you know, shakes his hips, or the way, you know, like Michael P.S. Hayes, or the way he puts on an armbar, you know, so fluidly, like Chris Benoit. You know, I'll try to take that and establish it to my game.
Yeah. Do you think comedy something's lacking in wrestling? Because you bring a lot of comedy to your.
You know what? Like everyone, it's just comedy is such a great thing. Is because for me, you know, especially like I was watching Joe and Kabashi, and like just in my head, you know, what a great match that was. But imagine if like Kabashi farted. You know, like that'd be the greatest thing ever. So, you know, comedy just, you know, it takes such a tense moment and can make something just, you know, so much, you know, put a smile on everyone's face. And when there's a smile on people's face, people are happy, and they remember the happy moments in their life. Like I remember the happy moments in my life, and I, you know, I love comedy, but you know, if no one's gonna do it, I'll be more than happy to be the guy that does it, and hopefully, you know, people will remember, because, you know, I like to be the guy that they remember. So, you know, like it's a little both, you know.
You got a question from the message board?
Do I? Yeah. How fast do you guys type?
I'd say 90.
I type with 2 fingers.
Nice.
But
Are you a typer?
they're really fast and powerful fingers. Well, yeah, women listening out there.
Oh, okay.
100 words per minute, but it's in a language that only I can understand.
Right. Well, the British keyboard is a little different than the American keyboard.
Yes, it is.
Right.
So learn the hard way.
Mm-hmm.
You have the same alphabet?
No.
Oh, okay.
Starts as Z is the first letter, actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's why we can't understand.
Exactly.
What was the question from the board there, Inchman?
Shima Dragon, he wants to know if you have any good road stories with going through, what is it, Steel Domain with Punk?
Just road stories from the domain, is that what it was?
Yeah. Well, you can say anyone you want. CM Punk.
Man, I don't know. You know, again, like, in my shoot interview, me and Punk, because we start remembering stuff and we got pictures, and that's available at ROHWrestling.com. You know, we tell a lot of funny road stories. I always get weirded out getting put on the spot.
Yeah.
You know, like I was saying, like, I don't, it's just, you know, if something clicks, I'll remember a good road story.
Mm.
Otherwise, there's just so many of them, and there are a lot of them. And I do recommend my shoot interview if you want to hear some funny stories, because that's where a lot of the good stories are.
Yeah, there's a good one on there with Harley Race.
Yeah.
Who we have?
So. Yeah, that's where Harley Race is puking in Punk's car, and Punk's all excited about it because he's puking in his car.
Yeah. Have you ever marked out, like, meeting one of the legends? Embarrassing way?
In an embarrassing way?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you know what? Hold on.
Yeah.
Hello? Alright, sorry. When I was younger, you know, I would a lot. Now, not so much. Sometimes I will. Like, X-Pac's my favorite because, I don't know if you guys know X-Pac's extracurricular activities, but those of you who've seen the Surreal Life, you know what I'm talking about. So, like, I can just go to X-Pac and be like, hey, you know, tell me some awesome stories, and then I'll just be mucking about everything and asking, like, all these awesome stories about when I was a kid that I want to know about.
Uh-huh.
And, like, I won't be embarrassed because, like, you know, he won't remember that I was asking him.
You gotta tape those next time.
Yeah, well, I'm contemplating it, so.
Yeah, you put them up on.
We'll make our own reality show.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a master of putting up the website. You gotta put them up on ColtCabana.com.
Yeah, there you
go. Rick Rude's mustache. He wants to know if you ever stretched that big booty fellow Samoa Joe.
Rick Rude's mustache asked that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rick Rude's mustache.
Wow.
That's one of our fans.
your fan is actually Rick Rude's mustache.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
We also have Jack's beard on our board.
Well, that's not as cool as Rick Rude's mustache. Samoa Joe does have a big booty, doesn't he? Yeah.
We asked about that when he was on.
He gets annoyed if you ask him
It
about
didn't go over well.
Now, why did
really?
party?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I mean, man, he is jacked. He's a man.
Yes.
He drinks beers and punches people in the face. Samoa Joe.
More awesome.
He's a man's man, right?
When we had him on, you were one of the names he brought up that he thinks should be a bigger deal in wrestling from the Indies.
Oh, well, God bless Samoa Joe.
Really put you over.
He once actually ate the Bible while water skiing, Samoa Joe.
Really?
Yeah. So, thank you. Samoa Joe, I've never stretched Samoa Joe. I think it's a competitive match when we're in the ring. I've had some really good matches with him, and I know it was June of 2005. This for the Pure title. I can't remember which one it was. It was in Jersey, but that was one of my more fonder matches with Samoa Joe, and just one of my fonder matches overall because I really enjoyed what we did out there, and we told a good story, and obviously Joe's one of the budding stars of professional wrestling, now and in a couple of years, and years to go. Mm-hmm. But I've never stretched him, no.
One of our fans, Rogue, wanted to know, do you still practice yoga?
Do I still practice yoga?
Yes. And she also wanted me to blow you a kiss. So if I blow you a kiss, it's not from me, it's from our fan, Rogue.
Oh, thank you very much. And in terms of yoga, I still, how can I put this so nicely? I still try to stretch my head down in between my legs as far as I can, unsuccessfully.
You're a big fan of Lanny Poffo?
Yeah, exactly. But to this day, I still can't. So if that's the yoga you're talking about, that's about the only yoga I'll be doing.
How about yoga for regular guys from DDP?
Oh, a funny story is my dad was in L.A. and my dad's just a dad, and he saw Diamond Dallas Page at a cafe, and he started talking. He's like, my son, is a wrestler, blah blah blah, and he's like, oh, all right, that's cool. He's like, I'm coming out with this book, you should buy it. And he just kept on plugging his yoga book.
We had him on. Yeah, we had him on for about an hour, and about 45 minutes of it was the book.
Was the yoga book? Well, all right, man.
It is cool.
Hey, more power to him, right? You gotta push what you gotta push.
Mm-hmm.
Another question from the message board there, Inchman?
Let's see here.
Or Barbie?
Casper, he wants to know who's your favorite guy you ever work with.
My favorite guy I ever wrestled?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or worked with?
Favorite guy you ever worked fast food with?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Lenny from Carl's Jr. was a great guy to work with.
Oh, he's the man.
You know Lenny?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're tight.
Really? Well, in terms of work with, I mean, Gabe Spalski's a great guy to work with.
Cool.
Right?
Spalski?
Bobby Heenan or Jim Cornette. I mean, what do you mean? I assume you meant wrestle with.
Yeah, wrestle with.
Okay. We got to clarify.
Man.
When I went to the UK, I really had a fun time wrestling with Johnny Kidd and Doug Williams, and Johnny Storm. Those were three guys in England that I really liked to wrestle with. Over here, obviously, when I first started wrestling, me and the Punker would wrestle each other a billion times a week, and that was always fun. And I really liked wrestling with Nigel when I came back from Europe, and I was wrestling here in Ring of Honor. And I don't know, a lot of the Ring of Honor guys, I did a lot of matches with Dan Moff and BJ, and I really enjoyed wrestling with them. And I don't know, list goes on.
WWE Junkies, he also wants to know, have you ever had any strange encounters with fans? Would this be one of them?
No, but me and Punk were once on an airplane with Marion Barry.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you guys know, that was the mayor who got caught for cracking prostitutes.
Right.
Yeah, and that was a sweet encounter. And I was sitting next to him, waiting to get on the plane. I was listening to his conversation, obviously, on the telephone. And he was like, yeah, baby. And he's talking to this girl. And he's like, why don't you come on over Wednesday? You know, I'll cook you a sweet dinner, you know. And it was awesome. And I mean, that was one of the awesomest encounters I've ever had.
I think he was talking Incher.
What's that?
No, I think he was talking Incher on the phone. Oh.
Yeah, he might have been. I could only assume it was a woman because this guy was a pimp. Straight up pimp. Encounters with fans. There's always some real weird ones, you know. There's some cool ones too. Like nothing that if you ask me right now I can remember. I wish I could too.
Yeah. And somebody else also wanted to know, kind of on the same wavelength, when you were on your European vacation, were you accosted by undesirables?
Meaning what?
I don't know. That was a fan emailed me that.
What do you think? What do you think that means?
I'm assuming it means, did any really filthy rats try and get with you?
Oh, some birds.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's some dirty birds over in Europe, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were really disgusting, and I fucked all of them.
Awesome.
No, I don't know. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I just, you know, if they're undesirable, then they're not to be desired by myself. So.
Right.
I don't desire them.
She also wanted to know if there was any stories that you couldn't put on your European vacation tape.
Yes. Yes, there were. And that's why they weren't on there. Otherwise, I'd be sitting here telling to you.
And you can't talk about them here either.
Right, exactly.
Oh.
Imagine, I think I was 24, a 24-year-old single American in Europe where everyone's wowed by your accent and your boyish good looks. Good times were happening. Great memories.
It was like shore leave in 1917.
Exactly. I was like the Big Daddy.
How about Japan? Do you enjoy going to Japan?
Yeah. I went for my first time this year, January, and I'm supposed to be heading back very soon. I was given my dates, but I don't like to announce them until they're official. So.
Yeah.
But 01 is a heck of a company, and I just really had a great time. And Stanky and Alex Shelley and Steve Carino and Sanjay Dutt all told me what a great company it is to work for. And I would just look forward to going back there. And I think I've done a good job making a little name for myself in America. And when I went over there, people, a lot of people seemed to know who I was, and also I put on, I think, a good show that they remembered who I was. So I'm just looking to make a good name for myself over in Japan, America, Europe, everywhere I go. And, hopefully one day, when I'm 60 or 70 and I'm done wrestling, maybe some old dude remembers me.
Yeah. How would you compare the fans in the different countries?
Fans.
Wrestling fans are wrestling fans are wrestling fans, and everyone always kind of asks that question. I don't know. I guess Japan, it seems like they were a little more respectful, or maybe in America they're a little more. Everyone's just a lot more dickheads,
Mm-hmm.
I suppose. So, not everyone, but you know how American wrestling indie fans are, especially, right?
Mm-hmm.
They'll get on you, and they won't be afraid to. But Japanese fans, they couldn't. Like I was asking, one of the owners was saying on the message boards that everyone enjoyed, my performance over there, and then I was like, well, did they say anything bad? And they were like, well, they don't really say anything bad, just because out of respect. So it's like, in America, if you go on these message boards or whatever, or the internet or the write-ups, the first thing they're do is this guy sucks, he didn't do this, he didn't punch right, he didn't, how come he didn't do this move or that move? So it's interesting to see that, I guess, the Japanese fans, wouldn't even be caught saying something bad, just only good. So.
Right.
So I guess.
Was that? I was just saying, except for our website, that's inyourheadonline.com.
Is that you?
There.
Everyone's positive?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'll have to check it out then.
All right.
You've got some European dates coming up. Do you have any actual dates or names that you can drop?
I'm now going to be wrestling for 1PW in England, Doncaster, right? And that's March 4th and 5th. And I think that's www.1p-w.com. And I'm going to be in the tag team scene over there, I believe. So my first match is, I believe I'm tagging up with Spud. Me and Spud against Southern Comfort, against the Rottweilers, against maybe Johnny and Jody. And then the other night, it's me and Darren Burridge, who is a very good up-and-comer over in England, in a three-way against Southern Comfort and the Rottweilers, I believe. So obviously a lot of tag teaming going on over there, which I do enjoy because I did have a lot of success as the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions with Punk, and tag team wrestling is something I do enjoy, so that'll be a lot of fun.
You ever any thoughts? Go on, Barman.
Is there any chance you could get Bobby Richards' name on the door?
Bobby Richards.
Mm-hmm.
On the door. You just want me to write your name on a door. I'll be happy to write your name on any door you want me to.
For a good time call, Bobby Richards.
That's right. I've seen your name on a stall, but not on a door.
Now, I cannot confirm or deny that happened.
Right.
But I can deny it led to some good times.
Okay, but I will confirm that you are a weirdo.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sorry.
You ever talked with TNA?
Me?
Yeah.
Man, I really like feeling TNA a lot more than talking to it, right? Sometimes you can move your lips, you know, like, I mean, but that's not really talking, though. That's just a motorboat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say it is a weird feeling sometimes if you call up and order a TNA pay-per-view.
What?
But, like if you call up and order
TNA?
Yeah, you want TNA hard.
Oh, you talking about wrestling?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like, I won't say that, you know, Colt Cabana and TNA have never talked. I will say that nothing productive has ever came out of it. So that's all I can say.
Okay. How about the WWE?
Well, I've done some stuff for them in the past. You know, I wrestled Eugene on Sunday Night Heat.
Yeah.
And I mean,
you can see pictures. Well, you can see pictures of that on ColtCabana.com.
Yeah, I think, you know, you can watch the matches up there too, I think. And, yeah, I mean, that's the extent of it. I'd be an idiot to say that I don't think I could really add something to their products, but that's just me being confident in my own wrestling. I mean, I'm sure they know that, you know, if they wanted me, you know, they're the big dogs. They could do what they want, and, you know, obviously they would make an offer. I probably wouldn't turn it down, but or a good enough offer. But that's the extent of that. So who knows?
Was there any like ideas they came up for you in TNA that you didn't like, or you just didn't even get that far?
I don't even think I got that. I mean, I don't know. It's just, who knows?
Yeah.
They just phoned to heckle you?
What's that?
They just phoned to heckle you?
Yeah, they tell me I'm an idiot. I know I was asked to be on the poll when they took that poll for the not when they took the poll.
You want a poll?
Yeah, well, no, I think they were gonna. When they did the internet where Aries won and wrestled Daniels.
Right.
I was contacted for that, but I was touring Europe at the time. So, and then there's been a couple contacts after that, but, you know, nothing's too exclusive or you know.
Yeah.
I think nothing too, just kind of missed phone calls and untimely. Just like that, you know, I was touring Europe, I couldn't wrestle for them. So.
Right. If you did go, like, there at WWE, would you rather be in, like, the XDivision or the Cruiserweights, or would you prefer to be, like, in the Heavyweight division?
Well, I don't know. I just like to wrestle and put on a good match and be entertaining, you know, I don't know what they would think it is. I guess if you want to go with X Division, since Samoa Joe's not, you know, really a skinny dude, and neither am I,
right.
But we do have a distinct way of wrestling, which isn't, you know, punch and kicks.
Mm-hmm.
So if by that, you know, I don't know if comedy goes in the X Division or lighthearted wrestling, but I just like to wrestle. That's what I like to do, and whatever division or or exhibition or whatever, whoever wants to put me in whatever, I'll do whatever.
We had a Homicide on last week, and he mentioned that his son loves you more than he loves him. How does that make you feel?
He's a douchebag. I mean, obviously his son's got good taste, but
yeah.
I mean, why would his son love a wrestler who's that disrespectful and, and obviously doesn't have a lot of respect for wrestling? The way, what he brings to a match and what he does in a match, what he does outside the ring, it's just, I wouldn't doubt, I consider myself a good citizen. I pay my taxes. I don't join gangs. I think I'm a good role model for kids. I'm not surprised.
One of our fans put up a video of you doing a rap on our website.
Sure.
Yeah. You want to give us a little freestyle?
Right now?
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
Oh, man.
I could kick it Big Willie style, but I'm not in the mood to get jiggy with it.
All right.
Nobody ever wants to freestyle for us.
No, we had Ron Killings did.
Yeah.
What do you want me to freestyle about?
Whatever. InYourHeadOnline.com.
Well, no, whatever. I mean, if you had something, maybe I'd bust it out a little, but.
Yeah, we're putting him on the spot. He has to bring the gold, and he doesn't want to do it half-assed.
Exactly.
I understand. You got another question from the message board? What was that? Did I interrupt you? Sorry.
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
question away.
You have a magnificent hairline. How do you do it? Head of
it's a good question because I get worried all the time that I'm going bald. And actually, Dusty Rhodes did a Good Times Great Memories with me, and he's like, baby, you're going bald, Jack. And he said that in the background. And I was like, oh, my God. And I thought he was serious, and I didn't know because he was looking at me, ups and down, and he was behind me. And he said I was going bald. So I really get worried about that a lot. But I do have nice, thick hair, and I'm really happy that I'm not going bald. And I hope you were saying that, like, by a nice hairline.
No, it looks good, dude. I just found out that I could test positive for steroids because of the pomades I use.
You think I would be or wouldn't be?
No. My hair, the stuff I put in my hair, I could test positive for steroids for that. The Olympics.
The guy recently, in the Olympics, the guy was thrown in the Olympics for using Rogaine because it made him test positive for steroids.
Oh.
Intra's really worried about that if he takes any drug tests.
Interesting. Well, I'll tell you one thing is that on the steroids, and that's another thing. And I don't think that people get enough credit. Obviously it's kind of going on in wrestling, and I guess it's hard to give credit when you're not on steroids, but, there's a lot of people, including myself, that don't get enough credit for not taking steroids or not being pill poppers or not even, I don't even drink or smoke, so, I don't want to pat myself on the back Barry Horowitz style, but, I'm very natural, and if people, listen to this, hear that, that you can succeed in wrestling without taking steroids, hopefully that helps you guys out a little bit.
Do you ever get, picked on, maybe earlier in your career because you weren't, a big drinker or anything?
Not so much because don't get me wrong, I am a party guy in the sense where I enjoy going out, and I enjoy, making fun of people when they're drunk, and I do, obviously you can tell by my character in the ring that, and that is an extension of my own character that, I do enjoy life, and I'm not afraid to be a little outgoing, so, people normally just think I'm drunk, and I'm really not, so, I don't get picked on because, I go out and I act the same way that drunk people do, it's just I can do it without drinking.
Right. You're high on life.
Exactly.
I will say that some of our fans in the chat room earlier were asking if you're high.
Right now?
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
No.
There you go.
Yeah, high on life. I've never smoked the marijuana before. I've never done any crack cocaine. None of that.
Oh, you're just like the Intra and I.
Just like who?
Intra and I. Both Intra and I don't do any of the drugs or.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought Intra was on steroids, though.
Oh well. Besides that,
I use Rogaine and I can be tested positive for steroids.
How do you think you got the 1-inch biceps?
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah, he was the 1 centimeter man before that.
Right.
Damn game.
When you mentioned before about like being a wrestling fan, do you think that guys that get into the business who are a wrestling fan before, instead of just getting it, who weren't a fan, have a better chance of making it?
Man, it's a great question. Or not a great question. It's nice that you bring this up. And I was having this discussion with some of the guys in the hotel again because we were stuck in New York for a couple of days. I don't despise the people that get into wrestling that don't love it when they're younger, but I really don't like them, especially when they get successful because they failed at something else and then all of a sudden they kind of just jumped into wrestling. I'll do wrestling. Where there's guys like myself and Punk and not like even Nigel will tell you, and the list goes on. So a lot of the guys in Ring of Honor too that just loved wrestling when they were kids, and this is the only thing they've ever wanted to do. And by that means is that I guess in a way I've been studying wrestling since I was 3 to get ready to prepare myself for my career, and I definitely have an advantage when the first day of wrestling school they say, okay, we're going to lock up and body slam someone. And the person that has no clue what they're talking about has no clue what they're talking about. And I'm like, I've seen this on TV. Just show me where to place my hands and show me the correct positioning, and I'll do it in a second. And I'm not going to forget because I know the name. I understand, how it works, and not so much the mechanics of it, but the basic gist of it. So, but it's going to take them 3 months. Will take me 1 week, and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. So definitely, the people who watch it and really love it before they get into wrestling definitely have an advantage, of course.
Yeah. Did you ever do any backyard wrestling?
And here's something that gets brought up a lot, is I believe everybody in wrestling, and especially the guys who love, I'm going to say the guys who loved wrestling before, to some kind of extension. I'll be completely honest with you. I never did, I didn't have a backyard wrestling league. Right. Me and my buddies, me and my one buddy, Kip, we would always just kind of we'd take there was an old mattress we'd drag out and just body slam each other on it. I never do anything too crazy.
Yeah.
So, to that extension, we didn't have a league where we were trying to promote ourselves as professionals by any means, or say that we were professionals or better than anyone. Obviously everyone at recess will go out and, when people go out and play recess and they play backyard football, they don't claim to be in the NFL. I would. I'd be like, Walt's Payton. Oh, what a move. But, so just if people do backyard wrestling, don't claim that you're a professional. Don't claim that you're better than anybody else. And don't kill yourself with barbed wire and stuff. Just have fun, just like you would in, touch football. But when, if you're playing, I wouldn't, I'd say, hey, go out and play, tackle football, touch football, but don't go out and try to play, I don't know, is there a Nintendo game, in football where they kill each other? Don't play football with spikes on it. That's just stupid.
We get a caller here.
Okay.
Who is this?
Handsmith, Jobber.
Oh, it's a Jobber, man.
Over to the stars.
Jobber to the stars.
Hi, guys.
He's got a hell of a signature on our message board.
Yeah, it's a witty little banner.
Yeah. All right.
You have a question for Colt?
Yes,
I do. You're a Hogan fan.
Me?
Yeah.
Not like a crazy Hogan fan, but obviously I loved Hogan as a kid, sure.
Oh, man, I was going to ask you to do a Hogan promo.
Oh, no, that's not a problem. Give me a topic. Give me a topic before you hang up.
Oh, damn, I don't know.
Cut a promo on us.
Yeah.
No, that's horrible. Come on. All right, I'll give you. I'll pick one. All right.
All right.
Somebody's got to get the job done.
Are we ready to do this?
Oh yeah.
All right, brother. What should I cut it on? Elizabeth. Well, that's kind of Macho Man, isn't it?
Iron Mike Sharpe.
See, now I can't even do Hulk Hogan. All I can do is Big Brother, right? I guess.
Oh, that was excellent.
Can I do Macho Man?
Yeah, you can do Macho Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Macho Man coming down the ring with the scepter and the stars and the moon are aligning together, brother. Iron Mike Sharpe, you're going to get in the ring tonight and you're going to go down to me and Elizabeth. Ooh, yeah, dig it.
Excellent.
How's that?
Oh, that was excellent. Who's your favorite promo guy?
Man, I just watched this really sweet Roddy Piper promo today. Obviously, Roddy Piper's awesome.
Yeah.
Dusty was awesome in the way that obviously he had nothing planned and he just went in there, and because his voice was so cool and he had such a connection with the people, and he knew what he was talking about, that his promos were not just like, they got to the point, but they were also very entertaining.
What about Warrior?
Oh, come on. Dusty and Piper's, I really enjoyed their promos.
Yeah. Piper's always my favorite. He was the only wrestler I ever had a poster of in my room.
A man crush on?
Yeah. I had a big crush on him. I wear kilts.
Nice. You're not the only one.
Yeah. You got another question, Robert?
No, I'll let you guys go. And
All right.
thanks
for calling in.
On InYourHeadOnline.com.
Yeah, you got it, man. You got it.
Hey, thanks, man. Bye.
See you.
How about the Gold Bond Mafia? How did that start?
Man, I don't want to get into it completely, but Gold Bond it was a college thing, and my roommate once made me put Gold Bond on my nuts, and you know, I thought it was red, but, you know, I put them on, and it was the greatest feeling ever, so it just makes your nuts, like, totally, get the green bottle, it makes your nuts totally just tingle and feel sensational.
That's like the medicated kind.
Yeah, the medicated. So we were on the road once, and I made everybody in the Steel Domain car put Gold Bond on their nuts, and everybody fell in love with Gold Bond, and then, you know, obviously a stable was formed, and the obvious name would be the Gold Bond Mafia, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I know what I'm doing tonight.
There you go.
And then
at first it was the powder, but I really do recommend the lotion. It's a lot less messier.
Oh God, this is getting weird.
Someone had a question here in the chat room. What were they asking?
Okay.
BMAC wanted to know. He said you did a vignette this weekend with CM Punk and Ring of Honor. Is there any plans to go any further with that storyline?
I don't know what Punk's plans are. I guess that's up to WWE's office. He came there to help me, and like I said, I didn't need his help. You know, Punk is gone. I know Punk wants to be part of Ring of Honor, but at this point, you know, he has signed with WWE, and he's with WWE. So my job is to make myself as strong in Ring of Honor as I can now without Punk. And I really think that's a big goal of mine, is to establish myself as myself and not with Punker anymore.
Right.
Although, you know, obviously my years with Punk were some of the greatest years ever, but, you know, I guess now that he's signed and kind of left the independent world, you know, it's time for me to do my own thing.
Yeah, you want to be your own man.
Of course.
Yeah. Is there what guys that you haven't worked with that you'd really like to have a match with?
Always, American Dragon. I've always said that. I love his wrestling style. Steve Gray, I know, is still wrestling over there in England. I would definitely want to wrestle with Steve Gray. I don't know. That's about it. I mean, obviously all your top guys in WWE that I've never wrestled, just, you know, there's some of the better ones up there, Benoit and Angle and Michaels and whatnot, but realistically, Steve Gray and American Dragon.
Do you have an ultimate goal in wrestling?
My ultimate goal, and I've said this since day one, was to be able to make a living at what I love to do, and being able to send my kids, if I have any, to college. So, you know, I'm one of those weird ones. Jim Cornette once said to me, you know, if you don't want to be the world champion, you know, everybody wants to be the world champion. I just want to be a wrestler. I just want to, you know, obviously I'd love to headline WrestleMania or whatnot, but honestly, I just love to be able to do this until I'm 58 years old, and have a successful and long career and just be able to stay in the ring. And I do mean that. You know, a lot of people want to get out, make their money and get out. I do want to make my money, but I do want to wrestle when I'm 50, 55. And in the olden days, you know, and I'm a big mark for a lot of stuff that the guys did before me. I'm a big mark for tradition and respect. And a lot of those guys were wrestling when they were 50 and 60. And, you know, I've read that Les Kellett didn't make his big break until he was 58 years old in England. And if that's something I could do and reinvent myself when I'm older, that's something that I'd love to do, is continue wrestling until I'm a grandfather.
Would you want to do anything in wrestling outside of the ring?
Yeah, you know, actually, I have a meeting tonight. I might be starting my own training center. You know, look, ColtCabana.com. maybe something in the future, there'll be some information on that. I do also have aspirations of, right now I just want to wrestle, but aspirations of maybe when I'm 40 or 50 of bring back the carnival back, where getting my own van with my own ring and running 2-week loops, weekday shows, and just, getting a group and just, traveling the country for 2 weeks and then going home and then take a week off and then maybe traveling the country again for 2 weeks, putting on shows in little towns and just, kind of like the olden days. So that's something that I really aspire to do, and just ways of making money, of course, when you're not a superstar anymore or whatnot.
Mm-hmm. One of our fans who couldn't be here, Susie, wanted to know, where did the infamous "Good Times, Great Memories" quote come from?
Me and my friends, my non-wrestling friends, whenever something awesome would happen, we'd always, and there was that awkward silence, we'd always just kind of go, good times. And, when something really awesome happens and just you don't know what to say, and that's kind of, we would always say that and then we'd always laugh. So, and then I don't remember if we would say great memories after that, but just kind of, from that kind of tagged on great memories. So that was kind of the tagline.
All right. Is there anything you want to say to your fans before I let you go?
Man, thanks. I guess you're my fans if you're listening, and if you're not my fans, you're not listening, so I can't say nothing to my non-fans. So, thanks for supporting me, I appreciate it. And, ColtCabana.com, and I got a MySpace / Colt Cabana if you want to. I've really been, big on, I wasn't before, I just kind of read them, and then, because, obviously I'm really busy, but I'm really big on, if you're going to send me a worthwhile message, I'll be happy to send you one back. So, just because, I'm a fan of people and other things, and, so I'm a big fan of comedians, and, I've messaged some comedians, and the ones that message you back, or that you talk to back, and they take their time to answer you, I'm appreciative of that. So I realize that the wrestling fans are appreciative, if I write them back, and, I'm a normal dude, so I've got no problem doing that and keeping in touch with my, fans. So just drop me a line or say hi or please, support. I got T-shirts and headbands and DVDs and stuff on my website. So that's about it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for interviewing me.
Thanks for being on. Really appreciate it.
Cool. Everything cool?
Yep.
LEX Homicide on WearHeadsAlright.com. Right.